ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। We are studying Anandamayadhikarana, the Adhikarana from the first Adhyaya of Brahma Sutra Bhashyam by Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji. In this Adhikarana, we are trying to see whether the ultimate reality called Brahma is entity by negation or it is entity by position. Everything in the world looks impermanent, temporary, transitory. So if everything is transitory, every single thing as an object, as a thought, as an idea, as a creation, everything seems to be for some time being. The time seems to be the limiting factor for the existence of everything that we have around us. If that is so, then nothingness seems to be the permanent thing. Bhavikarana, bhavatu, becoming is definitely transitory. If all becomings are transitory, is there any being? Is it only not nothing is permanent, nothing is permanent, nothing is permanent? That means nothingness is permanent. Or where nothingness ends, there is something which is not of the nature of anything that is nothing, is a positive deposition of the existence. The positive deposition of existence means there exists something whose nature cannot be described because its nature is not at all seen in all this which is impermanent. A permanent's nature cannot be found in impermanent. An infinite's presence cannot be found in finite. The characteristics or guna dharma of finite or santa vastu cannot be applied to that is which is ananta. By mere logic, we can come to the conclusion that any criteria that is applicable in this creation or the world of objects, emotions, and thoughts, that brings us to a point. What is this world made up of? Oh, it is made up of the mountains, the rivers, the human beings, the animals, the wind, the sky, the stars. No. Where do these things exist? The star, the sun, the wind, the mountain, do they exist there or they exist in mind? I see them because they exist in my mind, or my mind sees them because they exist there? Is this world is an idea of my mind, or it has an existence which my mind is seeing? Is the world my idea, or the world has an existence, that's why I'm seeing it? Where does the mountain reside? In the mountain or in my mind? Where is the existence of river? Right there where she is flowing, or it is in my mind? Because when I'm asleep, deep in sleep, the mountain doesn't exist, the river doesn't exist, the sun doesn't exist, the star doesn't exist, the world doesn't exist. So existence of this world itself is questionable because there is a state in which I experience every day. There is a state called deep sleep in which nothing in this world exists. It should be agreed that for the time being, mind is emptied of all the impressions of the world in deep sleep. That brings us to a point that the mind is nothing else but a receptacle, a pot holding all the impressions about the world. And about the world, there are only three types of impressions that are held in the mind. One, world of objects, because we perceive them. We are the perceiver of the object. Or the world of emotions, because I am the feeler of the emotion. Or the world is only made up of thoughts because I am the thinker of the thoughts. So depending upon the role that I play as perceiver, feeler, or thinker, world to me is of objects or emotions or thoughts. When I'm extremely angry, The world for me is nothing else but anger as a feeling, because I'm a feeler at that point of time. When I touch the Ferrari, I am the perceiver of the object called Ferrari car. There I am a perceiver. When I'm not doing either of these two things, I am a thinker right now, thinking about Brahma. So whenever I am a perceiver, feeler, or thinker, perceiver of object, feeler of emotion, and thinker of thoughts. This is Gurudeva's theory. Gurudeva's greatest gift in Advaita Vedanta is BMI, the body, mind, intelligence. In other words, I cannot be in other than these three avasthas if I think of the world. What is the meaning of the statement, I am in the world? I am in the world means either I am a perceiver of object, feeler of emotion, or thinker of thoughts. Can there be a situation where there is no perceiver of object, no feeler of emotion, and no thinker of thought? Unfortunately, we cannot think of this unless we think. Again, we become a thinker. We are asking a question, can there be a situation where I am not playing the role of perceiver of an object, feeler of an emotion, or thinker of a thought? And the biggest difficulty we find in this is the maximum that I can do is thinking of a thought. Beyond that, I cannot go. Can I be in a state where I am not a thinker, I am not a feeler, I am not a perceiver? A state where I am not aware of the objects, not aware of the emotions, not aware of the thoughts. Thoughtless, emotionless, perceptionless existence. In other words, the mind or the antakaran in this entire body, the most important organ is antakaran, rest is all paraphernalia. In the chariot, it is the horse that is important, rest everything is for the use of the horse. The body that we have is nothing else but all the accessories meant for antakarana. Antakarana is the main thing, which is commonly referred as mind. The antakarana is nothing else but a place where billions and billions of experiences reside, experiences that we have obtained when we were feeler, perceiver, or thinker. When did we get these experiences? Since the time we started taking experience. Since when? Anadi. Many births. I acted as a perceiver. Even as an animal, I acted as a perceiver. The lion looks at the deer and thinks that I can kill the deer. There is an experience involved into it. Here, the object is deer. The perceiver of the object is the lion or the tiger. And is going to catch the deer as prey and devour the prey or eat the prey. And the whole process is an experience. That experience is ingrained in my mind, in the tiger's mind. Now the same tiger or the lion is in the current birth human being. So where is that experience of killing a deer, it is lying deeply embedded in the subconscious of the Antakarana. It hasn't come to the fore. It hasn't come to the surface. The ocean has thousands of pearls and aquatic animals deep inside. On the surface, you see few of the fish, few of the things that are lurking on the surface. Similarly, this Athang Gambhira Antakarana is full of experiences. In fact, there is no existence for mind or Antakarana except that it is the intricate, interwoven compilation of experiences of many births through many incidences and interactions as perceiver, feeler, thinker. The tree is also a perceiver. You touch the plant called touch me not, and it collapses its leaves. Perception. And till the time the perception is exists, world to the extent of perception, world to the extent of experience is existing for you. For example, we do not know what is lying at the extreme outskirts of galaxy. We don't know. What we don't know, we have not experienced it because we cannot be perceiver of that, we cannot be feeler of that, we cannot be thinker of that. Since it is beyond our perception, feeling, and thinking, we have no experience. That means that is not existing in our world. It may be existing in somebody else's world. A dog hears an ultrasound wave. It is in dog's perception. It is not in our perception. So, in our world, ultrasound that the dog listens to are not existing. Because there's no experience. Yes, somebody wrote about it, so I read about it, I knew about it. But this is not part of my experience. And every experience creates an impression in the mind called sanskar. And sanskara, when it is samskaras repeated again and again, they become vasana. And the beauty of the whole thing is, none of the experiences as perceiver, feeler, or thinker are possible unless you perceive, unless you think, unless you feel. That means you may be having a gun in the hand. That does not mean you should shoot. It's no compulsion. You may be having an antakarana or mind. That doesn't mean that you will have to act as a perceiver, feeler, and thinker. You can definitely not utilize the mind or the antakarana and not mold it into the form of perceiver, feeler, or thinker. Withdrawing the role of perceiver, feeler, thinker, which essentially happens through indriyas, is the study of Dhamma. And when the antakarana itself takes a decision of not letting any role of yours to go outside itself, not to act as perceiver, feeler, or thinker, it is the study of Shama. As a result, certain concrete principles can be now made and kept in mind. The first principle is world is nothing else but contents of my mind. If there is a content in my mind, then to that extent the world is existing. My mind has a content called mountain, mountain will exist. My mind has a content called river, river will exist. My content of my mind is jealousy, jealousy will exist. That what is in mind shall exist. That which is not in mind shall not exist. For a blind man, a rainbow doesn't exist. Because the eye, the indriya being not there, the experience of the rainbow is not there. So the rainbow doesn't exist in the mind of a blind person. It does exist in the mind of a person with eyesight. And all these contents of experience of the mind of all the external objects in the form of crystallized experience is called pratyaya. What is pratyaya? Continuous accumulation of net result called experience through the role of perceiver, feeler, and thinker about objects, emotions, and thoughts is called pratyaya. So what is the mind full of? Mind is full of pratyaya, experiences gained over many births through the role of antakarana or the mind as perceiver, feeler, and thinker. That rests one thing for all of us. World does not exist or exist by itself outside. The world is present. Whether the world is realistic or not realistic is a different question. Even if the world is real and I don't have antakarana, it's as good as not there for me. In the darshanas and the shastras, as well as in the realm of philosophy, realism and idealism, yatharthavad and adarshavad has always been a controversy. There are philosophers who say that the world does exist. Take Ramanuja, for example. He gives material existence to the world. And in the same breath, if you look at the Shankaracharya, he says world doesn't exist. The question is whether the world exists or not exists. That can be kept little aside. The question is whether the world will be there in my mind or not depends on what my mind is holding as an impression about the world. And it has important implication. If my mind decides not to have the world in the mind, it is possible that the mind will be empty of the world. Such a mind shall not have any trace of the world. That's precisely what a samadhi is called. What is a samadhi? In the samadhi, none of these pratyayas, contents of the minds, are emptied completely. All contents of the mind. I am a man, she is a woman, content of the mind. How beautiful this world is, a content of the mind. The birds are chirping, the wind, nice cool breeze is blowing, the river is cascading down the line, the trees lining the river are really blossoming with flowers. All these are contents of the mind. The biggest question is, when the contents of the mind are blotted out, when the mind is emptied of the worldly impression, when every single experience that we had in all our births is wiped clean, and a clean slate, tabula rasa, as it is called in Latin, a clean slate is formed, then how does one feel? What is the feeling? What is the state? What is the situation of such an individual? And it's not easy to describe. Every day when we go into the deep sleep, we empty the content of our mind. The mind is not existing at all. Because of which, what happens? World is not existing, body is not existing, I as a person is not existing, male, female, child, children, river, mountain, star, nothing is existing in deep sleep. Nothing that I experienced when I am awake is existing in deep sleep. I can understand that. But that is telling me what is not existing. I am asking a question, what is existing in deep sleep, not what is not existing. Not existing, I know, because my world, my family, my nothing is existing, I know. No, I know. What is yes, what is existing, what is precisely the state of me or my mind, because my mind will not have any state. The state of my mind is an empty state. It is why it is called sushupti. It flows into oblivion, nidrati, nidra. But if nothing is existing in that state, when I wake up from my deep sleep, I should just get a feeling that I slept. But we don't get that feeling. What feeling we get? Ah, what a sleep I had. There is definitely a remembrance of the happiness that I enjoyed in the deep sleep, which spills over in the awakened state. That means there must be ananda in the deep sleep. So that brings a very important conclusion to the mind. When the mind is not working, or when the mind is destroyed, or when the mind is completely emptied, there is ananda. The bigger question now is, whether this ananda is the last stage or not. All the objects in the world, they give us ananda. That's why we are hankering for the object. For a man, a woman. For a hungry person, the food. For a thirsty person, the water. For a greedy person, the money. We are hankering for the objects. Why? Because objects give us happiness. That is what we feel. Had objects been giving the happiness, then a lion becomes happy when he sees the lioness. But if a man sees a lioness, he is afraid. Same object called lioness is giving happiness to lion, but giving misery or afraid or fear to the man. That means if one object can be object of happiness for one and unhappiness for others, that means happiness does not reside in the object. It must be residing somewhere else. And where does that reside? It resides in the fact that the fleeting of my antakarana or the mind, the fleeting of mind is called desire. Whenever I desire something, that means my mind is fleeting, which is the essential characteristic of Rajoguna. When my mind is fleeting from one to other to other to other, when the Rajoguna is in Prabalya, what is happening is I'm hankering for happiness. However, when I get an object, when I eat the food, when I meet my counterpart female, when I drink the water when I am thirsty, for a moment, my fleeting stops. And when my fleeting means desire stops, my mind, which has a vritti, it becomes a jnanakar vritti. So sattva guna bharita jnanakar vritti. Sattva guna bharita jnanakar vritti gives same anandam as sakshi in the mind. Unfortunately, it lasts for a very short time. Sambhoga supposed to be the highest of Manushananda. Why? Intense concentration, not letting mind fleet from anything because you're involved in the act, that ekagrata giving rise to stoppage of Rajoguna and Jnanakara Sattva Guna Vritti gives happiness because of the Sakshi, and we feel, oh, it is the Sambhog that gave the pleasure. No. So that means whenever one act is performed, one experience is obtained, or one thing is kept in mind for a longer period, because all other contents of the mind are emptied to that extent. If the mind has got 1 billion experiences, you are focusing on only one experience, then focusing on one experience or one idea or one thought or one object or one feeling. If you focus on one object, you are focusing on the shaligram. When you are focusing on one feeling, you are focusing on the bhava of Krishna. When you are thinking of one thought, you are thinking about mananam of Brahma or Ishvara. These, when done uninterruptedly for a longer period of time, completely leaving all other experiences of the mind becomes empty to the extent that it has got only one thing into it. Rest all experiences are buried down. This practice of keeping one experience or one object or one feeling of the mind as the thing in front of you is called the art of meditation, at the exclusion of all other contents of the mind. Only one content of the mind in the form of experience is taken by the mind and focused only on that. When you do the meditation or focusing on only one content of the mind, the vritti becomes a jnanakara, and jnanakara vritti is sattva guna bharita vritti. Sattva guna has a side effect called happiness. So it gives a state of happiness. That is why the yogis, when they are in sadhana or samadhi or ekagrata practice, they come out cheerful and happy. The difference between the deep sleep and dhyana is, in deep sleep there is no dhyanam also. So there is no awareness of the sleep in the sleep. The awareness about the sleep comes when you are awake. In meditation, in ekagrata, in concentration, in dhyana dharana samadhi, one content of the mind is kept in front and you devote yourself completely to that for a very long period. Pradirga taila dharavat. What is the result of that? The result of that is you experience emptying of mind of all the experiences that you had in many births, because now you are thinking of only one experience or one content of the mind. So the pratyaya of the mind is reduced to 1 from 1 billion or 1,000 billions. For this, one requires ability to shut off all the other experiences and keep one experience strong in mind. This is not an act of an ordinary buddhi. You need a special, powerful, penetrating, concentrated, powerful buddhi called prajna. This prajna, when it helps in this particular meditation, it becomes some prajnat samadhi. Now there is one content held strongly by the mind simply because the mind is now in the state of prajna. What is the result of this particular concentration? One experience starts taking you inside the experience, inside that particular one thought that we are taking, and starts exploring the secrets of the world. Essentially, all experiences are same. They may vary in the response of the mind. There is something called sukham, dukkham, wanting, not wanting, anukul, pratikul. These are responses varying individually. As I said, a lioness, when seen, a lion is happy. When lion is seen, a man is afraid. The bird will start flying away because lion has come. Everybody has different responses. Object is same. So in the act of meditation and concentration, that object which is meditated upon, that thought which is meditated upon, that feeling that is meditated upon starts exposing itself of its inner content. This inner content being similar to all other thoughts that are there, all thoughts essentially have a common substratum. So the knowledge of common substratum keeps increasing, and as the knowledge of common substratum increases, it is called knowing the consciousness more and more. Such antakarana of the person who is doing this sadhana of concentration called yogi, the yogi's antakarana now is able to hold the consciousness in a much larger manner than ordinary mind like ours, which has only a glimpse of consciousness. Higher the consciousness, higher the application of consciousness, which is sattva guna, higher will be the knowledge of things around. But still it will be knowledge of the things around. As the meditation progresses, the yogi is able to not only empty the contents of the mind, even this one content which has been taken as an art of meditation, that itself is also emptied out. When everything from the mind is emptied out, when the mind itself has been completely blanked off, completely cleaned off. When contents are taken out of the mind ceases to exist. Such mind is unhighlighted mind or destroyed mind. It no more exists. It is called amana avastha. Antakarana has no role to play. When Antakarana is not there, the person himself cannot exist, because the existence of a person, observer, feeler, thinker, or the perceiver is essentially because of the mind. So the art of concentration is nothing else but emptying the contents or the pratyaya of the mind with the help of the buddhi called prajna. When it comes to emptying the last resort of the mind called observer or the meditator himself is lifted from the mind and thrown away so that the mind can be completely destroyed. The buddhi that does this function of taking further higher up is called pratibha. And when it reaches a stage where all the contents of the mind are completely removed, the buddhi is called rutambhara. Rutambhara is the buddhi where complete consciousness is now reflected through the medium of antakarana. So he becomes sarvajna, ishvara. Kasmin bhagavo vidyate sarvam idam vidyato bhavati. What is that? When known, nothing will be left as unknown. That is the stage that he achieves. But so high is the study of Brahma Sutra that Brahma Sutra is trying to find out at this point which we described, when mind is completely blanked out and the mind is completely destroyed, at that point of time, whether one can feel the ananda or not. Feel is not the right word. We are using it for our understanding, because feeling is gone, thinking is gone, perception is gone. When perception is gone, feeling is gone, thinking is gone, what remains? So difficult to imagine. Because our imagination, our thinking, our life, everything is within these three: perception, feeling, and thinking. We cannot do anything other than these three things in this world. You are either perceiving or feeling or thinking. And the state that we are talking about, the reality is beyond the three. That's all right. But beyond the three, how is it like? The question remains, how is it like? You are neither a perceiver, nor a feeler, nor a thinker. Then what I am? I don't have body, I don't have mind. What do you have? No, I don't have anything. No, you don't have anything. But what you don't have anything means what you have. No, I have nothing. Nothing means what? How can you imagine nothingness? The Buddhists called it void, shunya. What is there as ultimate reality? Shunya. But shunya means what? Void. Void means what? This world is not real, this is not real, this is not real, this is not real, mind is not real, body is not real. All right, not real. What is real and how real looks like? You cannot say looks like, because again you come into perception. How do you feel when you are at the Brahma level? You cannot say, because there is no feel in Brahma. What is a Brahmavid keeps thinking about? He cannot think because he is beyond thinking. And when there is nothing there, why should we try so hard to become nothing? The Brahma Sutra says, no, it is not nothing. It is a state where there is no shok. Again, unfortunately, we have no choice but to take recourse to no. There is no shok, there is no dukkha, there is no sukha, there is no. Yet it is a positive state, so we call it by the word Anand. Bliss is a name taken for our understanding of that situation, because that which does not exist in this perceiver, feeler and thinker's world is what the yogi or the Brahmavid or the one who reached there. Because those who reach there, they say that it is Ananda. The difficult question in Ananda is whether the Brahmavid is Anandi or Ananda. There's a subtle difference. I am happy or I am happiness. Brahmavid is happy or Brahmavid is happiness. Brahmavid is full of bliss or Brahmavid is bliss. Brahmavid Brahmeva Bhavati. Brahmavid, one who knows Brahma becomes Brahma. Means what? If you know something, you are not that thing. You know mango, so you cannot be mango. You are not mango because you know mango. When you know mango, mango is different, you are different. I know mango and I am mango. These are two different things. One who is I am mango cannot know the mango. And one who knows the mango cannot be a mango. I know Brahma, definitely doesn't know Brahma. I don't know Brahma, likely that he is Brahma. Entire Kenopanishada, second part is on this only. So two aspects that are very essential to study at the highest point of concentration or a samadhi, when there are no contents of the mind or the pratyaya of the mind at all existing, which is called nirvikalpa. Each and every individual content of the mind is vikalpa, of which even that vikalpa that I am meditating is also gone, called nirvikalpa or nirbija samadhi, dharma megha samadhi. At that point of time, what happens is the question. And that point of time, if somebody says, I am Anandi, I am full of bliss, then is that state Brahma or no? One who says, I am full of bliss, is he Brahma or he is closer to the Brahma? What is it? If he is closer to the Brahma, then he is still in the Upadhi, in the Kosha. This progress through the meditation, reaching to the Nirvikalpa Samadhi and enjoying the bliss, is described in Taittiriya Upanishad as koshas. Annamaya kosha, we all stay in that. Every day we are in the Annamaya kosha. Very few of them who practice the pranayama, etc., because of their ability to concentrate it gives them an idea that body is not what I see as this hand, feet, and the muscle and the nerves. They are all secondary. It is the pranas that are moving in the body who are the essential things. So when they see the body, they don't see it as head, eyes, hand, finger, toes. No, they see as pancha pranas constantly emanating and being helped by the breathing. Pranas are the horse riders who ride the horse called breath. So the yogi imagines these kind of things on the body. So for him, he does not see Annamaya Kosha, he sees Pranamaya Kosha. He says bodies are all same, lady, a man, a child, and this or that. It's all pranas everywhere, it's prana. Pranamaya Kosha. A further concentration of the yogi gives him an idea that no, this pranas again seems to be regulated by something behind it called antakarana or mana. It is manomaya kosha, from where the origination happens for the pranas as commands. Pranas on their own do not move voluntarily. They are pushed into that movement by none else than mind, manomaya kosha. It is the mind who acted as a feeler and became very angry. That anger then stimulated the pranas to move in a particular fashion, and then pranas moved in a fashion into the muscles and the body starts trembling. It is shaking with anger. So shaking of the body is caused by the violent movement of the pranas, which is again caused by the feeling of anger in the mind. So manomaya kosha. And how is it that the yogi came to know that there are 4 koshas and 5 koshas? They actually experience it. If you dissect the body, you will not see any of the kundalini chakras. Then how is it that the entire chakras have been mentioned? It is a visualization and experiences entertained by the mind of a yogi in the art of meditation or concentration, wherein one by one things are unfolded for him, which are completely settled and occurred for us. के पर्दा छोड़ा है उसी ने के उठाए ना बने. Yogi removes the curtain one by one. So pranamaya kosha is seen, annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, and he realizes that all the actions of this mind which are actually stimulating the pranas to act on the annamaya kosha are originally coming from vijnanamaya kosha, which is the buddhi, which is the sattva guna, and the jnanendriyas. It is the shuddha sattva that is actually prompting the mind to act, because mind itself is jada. You cannot feel angry unless you have the help of consciousness to feel angry. You cannot feel a feeling if the feeling is not filled by the consciousness. You cannot perceive an object unless the perception is fueled by the consciousness. And you cannot think unless the thought is fueled by the consciousness. The place where this happens is Vijnanamaya Kosha. So it is the Vijnanamaya Kosha where everything starts. By further concentration, the yogi is able to visualize this Vijnanamaya Kosha, concentrate on it, and get into what is called as Sananda Samadhi. At this moment, when the Vijnanamaya Kosha is also transcended, the yogi lands into a situation where behind all these koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya, all these 4 koshas, there is one more station. That station is the station where yogi is full of bliss, because now the contents of the mind are emptied. There is no impression, experience, nothing, no desire, nothing in the mind. When nothing is there, when sorrow is completely out, so is the sukham out, which is dependent on objects. What remains is only bliss. But at this point, he feels the bliss. He basks in the glory of the bliss. The fact that he basks in the glory of bliss means he is aware of the bliss. And awareness of a bliss itself means you are still in the cocoon, in the kosha. When this kosha is also destroyed, then what happens? I am basking in bliss. Just remove the I am. Basking in. What remains? Bliss. To whom? The question doesn't arise. How does it feel? Doesn't arise. What kind of bliss it would be? Can I think about it? Cannot. But it should be similar to something. Cannot. It is the highest. Cannot. It is aparimita. Higher is for limited things. Highest is also for limited thing. This is beyond limits. It is so hard on our thinking capability or capacity to think of a situation where there is bliss, but there is no taker of bliss. There is existence, but that existence is the only existence. Nothing else is existing. And it is conscious. To imagine only one, and only one means not only the world is not going to exist, the world itself is a small speck of dust in as far as the Brahma is concerned. Creation itself is a speck of dust. Vibhur Vyapya, again Vibhuhu. Why? We cannot imagine anything beyond sky. Our limitation of imagining a vast expanse is Akasha. It is beyond Akasha. People who have gathered in the cave in the darkness are discussing about the light of sun and sun itself. You may discuss about the sun rays that are penetrating in the cave, but to know the sun, you will have to come out in the sun. When you come out in the sun, where is the darkness gone? No, but I was trying to compare darkness with the sun. Sir, when you are in the sun, darkness is not there, so comparison is not possible. Brahmavit is Ananda Swarupa. Is he Ananda or Anandi? If he is Anandi, he is not yet reached Brahma. But if he is Ananda, he has reached Brahma. What is the difference between the Anandi and Ananda? How can you say that one who is saying that I am basking in the glory of bliss is itself blissful? What is the difference? That difference, that subtle difference, that last stage where I am happy, I am happy, I am happy, am happy, happy. First I is dropped, M is dropped, only happy remains, only bliss remains. This transition itself entails, it is like a dawn in the morning. Darkness is going away, light is coming in, but there is a sandhikala. The sandhikala is not prakash. Though prakash is seen in sandhikala, it is not prakash, because prakash, Surya Prakasham, is after sandhikala. Surya Udaya, that is beginning of the light. That is the bone of contention in Anandamaya Adhikarana, whether the Ananda that he feels is the Ananda of Brahma, or it is the Ananda that is still felt as a filler, that means still in the kosha. Ananda, when the yogi says, I am Anandi, is he in the kosha or is he reached the Brahma? Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Anandamaya is Ananda or Anandamaya is a kosha? Anandamaya, in other words, is Brahma or Anandamaya is a Jiva. That is the bone of contention. With all these discussions, now we are poised for 11 sutras that are discussed here by Purva Paksha, Siddhanta Paksha, that is Vrittikar, and the opinion of Shankaracharya on the top of it as a decision-making statement about Anandamaya Kosha or the Karana Sharira is the subject of the Anandamaya Adhikaran. The 11 sutras are now just the support to the arguments that we discussed in last so many sessions in the form of Shruti Praman. Different statements from different Upanishads, of which the main statement is coming from Brahmananda Valli, Dvitiya Anuvak of Taittiriya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad, one particular Rucha says that Moda is the head, Priya is the head, Moda is the right wing, Pramoda is the left wing, and Brahma is the pucha of this particular bird. This is how the Shruti says. That is the Shruti which has created this $1,000,000 question about Ananda and Anandamaya. We shall see those 11 sutras in short, because there is a lot of Sanskrit interpretation of certain grammatical things, which is basically Panditya to establish the same fact. We will see those, and that will bring us to the end of Anandamaya Adhikarana. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om. So, Sanjay, as per Sanjayji's suggestion, we will make the classes session from next week from Monday, on Mondays. So, the same time. Okay, no, Sanjayji? 5:30.
Yes, same time on Monday.
On Monday. Okay. Hari Om. So, we'll have some questions, please.
Hari Om. This Sanjay ji, Hari Om. Sattugana Bharida Vritti is a route that will lead to the Ananda, isn't it? Anandamaya Kosha. Huh? And what about Samprajna Samadhi and all? Actually, yeah, okay.
Samprajnat Samadhi is an attempt to cultivate the Sattva Guna. All meditations are an act to increase the Sattva Guna. First of all, you cannot increase the sattva guna unless you have planted the seed of sattva guna. Seed of sattva guna is planted through your behavioral practices in this world, which is called chitta shuddhi. If you do all the acts which are of dharma or punyam type, then you start getting the seed of sattva guna. Once the sattva guna is sufficiently stored in the mind in the form of seed, then you can think of growing the sattva guna in the form of a tree, which will help you to climb and reach the top where the Brahma Jnana is there. So when will you start your samadhi practice? You will never start it, you will never succeed in it unless you have chitta shuddhata. Once you have chitta shuddha, and suppose you are born into the next birth with a chitta shuddha person, all of a sudden after the birth you start feeling disinterested in this world. You are not interested in becoming doctor, engineer, doing this, marriage, children. You feel like going to Himalayas. The inner mind will prompt you, force you to go in seclusion, force you to go into solitude. That is because the sattva guna inside has a pressure to grow that further. Supposing that in the last birth you have already done some sadhana and you are reborn. When you are reborn, at that point of time, you will again go, perhaps you may leave your house at the age of 7 itself and go for in the search of truth to Himalayas. Everyone doesn't go to Himalayas because Chitta Shuddhi is not there. You come back in the world. This world is a laundry machine where you are cleaned. Unless you are cleaned, the cloth will not be hung on the wire for drying. The wire is of Vairagya. So Chitta Shuddhi is nothing else but inculcation of Sattva Guna through various acts of thinking and feeling. Niswartha Seva is the only modality of increasing Sattva Guna. Niswartha, first part, Seva, second part. The one who does Shiva Seva or Jiva Seva is the one who inculcates the Sattva Guna. As Sattva Guna keeps on increasing, you come out of this world because now there is no more need to collect the Sattva Guna to form the seed. The seed has already formed, the meditation, Upasana will start. Upasana has progressed further, then the Dhyanam will start. You and me cannot sit in meditation and be there in 12 hours in that avastha like a rock, like a dead person or Kashthavat, unlike Vivekananda, because Vivekananda was a born Nitya Siddha with 9/10 of his mind constantly in meditation as told by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Hari Om.
Then accumulated bad vasanas will totally disappear, or will they have any influence again? The mind?
It weakens. That is called a prasupta vasana. Vasanas have been described into 3 different types. We have studied Yoga Sutra. The one which are supta bhavana, I will give you example. If you are eating jalebi, your vasana about a lady is not there because you're eating jalebi. Where is that vasana about a lady? It is in the prasupta avastha. It is in the sleeping condition. When this vasana is over, this will come out. So that is why all bad tendencies are there either in the expressed form. Prasupta tanu udara. There are 3 types. Either they will be in the expressed forms or in the deep form. The deep form vasanas, we are not even aware of them, what kind of bad vasanas we have. That's why sometimes we behave like a violent animal under certain circumstances. The people behave in the most weird manner when they're actually cornered because that supta vasana comes out. And those vasanas are also to be removed and washed. That is why Kundalini Jagruta Prakarana, if you see, many a times person like J. Krishnamurti was rolling on the ground with tremendous amount of pain for almost 2 days. One of the explanation for that phenomena is the sanskaras were derooted from the mind. And derooting of samsaras is a very, very painful as well as very, very scary experience. That is why Vivekananda was so scared with the first samadhi that everything was going away. So that is why vasanas are there. The bad vasanas are definitely there. So first you tackle your most expressed vasanas. That is why you do satsanga, do archana, do puja, do tirthakshetra, do mantram, do help others, do social reform, try to do some danam, yajnam, tapam. All this is basically to see that good things increases, dharma increases, adharma goes down, punyam comes up, papam goes down, so that it gives you a disha, direction for further movement. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Well explained. Thank you.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. It's very, very nice to hear from you that the world is a laundry of mission. Indeed, it is exactly. That's the right way to explain how we are living in this. And you have mentioned also that the world is nothing else but the content of mind. That means the more things or more knowledge you gather, the world is expanding. Now, if you limit your knowledge or this reading power or whatever the experience, then you more or less become a dumb person, no? Then the world is not existing for you.
No, when you tell a child not to do bad things, that doesn't mean you tell a child to do good things. When you are asked not to get involved in the world, that means supposing there was no medical knowledge Swami Vivekananda had. So that's why does that mean he became dumb? But he had knowledge which was far superior to medical knowledge. What it means is you stop getting more and more integrated into this world other than what is required because of your situation. Suppose you are a sannyasi, why would you require a knowledge of engineering? Since you are not a sannyasi but a grahastha, have your knowledge to the extent of what the grahastha ashram requires you to support the grahastha ashram. Why are you getting the knowledge of different apps and WhatsApp and this and that and artificial intelligence and chat and the bot? Is it giving you the bread and butter? You are an engineer or maybe you are a doctor. Unless it pertains to your profession to the extent of professional competency, yes, it is something mandatory for you because you are bound in that grahastha ashrama. But unnecessary upadvyap. Upadvyap means something that is not required. Why do you require the knowledge of whether a particular hero has 2 wives or 3 wives? How does it help you? But the mind goes there. Content of the mind increases. Have you seen this movie? So beautifully he has acted. Why are you increasing the content of the mind? Then what is happening? Because contents are more, if the kitchen is full of so many things, what will you cook? Because you will not decide what to cook. The biggest problem is having many experiences. If they are not warranted, lot of dirt comes inside the mind. Yes, you require a phone in this era because you need to communicate, agreed. But what did you do? New model, 15 Pro, 16 Pro, updated iOS 16.5. What is all this? You're getting involved into it. So it's not that you are excluding knowledge from the preview of your brain. You are restricting it to its what is called as a value. Everything has a value and a limit, mulya and maryada. To the extent of its mulya and to the extent of its maryada, you should do it. You are a man. You definitely enjoy being with lady. Does that mean that you will keep having lady friends? No, you marry once and be loyal to her. What is the meaning? Maryada, mulya. That is what the meaning of this is. Content of the mind are to be discarded which are not required so that that which is required can be implanted. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay, agree with your viewpoint, but in today's time, to survive in this world, samsara, You have to get to know all those things. Otherwise, you are outdated. Like, nobody
Tell,
will take, you will not
tell,
get a job. You
tell
will not get anything. You will not get
person,
a.
tell me one person who knows everything in this world, worldly things. You can only know to the extent and capacity of your brain or intellectual capacity. One. Two, your intellectual capacity will help you because ultimately you are a mirror. You can reflect the light, all right. But where should light fall depends on what is important for you. So there are people who say that, look, having more money is important. Naturally, his intellect will be dedicated to earning more money. But then why are you coming to Brahma Sutra? Because you know that there is something more than the money. That means your priorities have changed. So if you know what is your priority, definitely you will focus to the knowledge of that priority. But if I focus to knowledge of that priority, what will happen to my children? To that extent, you have to definitely work in this world. But rest of the world is not necessary for me. How many cars you require? One may say 10 because that is what the world wants. So what do you want? You want what the world wants or you want what the Gurudev wants? Why didn't Gurudeva say that I want to have a Ferrari? He said, I would like to go to Himalayas and even if I suffer, I want to have this knowledge. What was his priority? His sense of priority told him that this is what I want. Our sense of priority, 2 more flats I want. It depends on sense of priority, sir. It is nothing. The world is full of so many things for you to take. What will you take? From the ocean, what you want to take? The water, the creatures, or the pearl? Depends on you. Are you?
Hari Om. Very well
Hari Om.
explained.
There is a question. Manasiji has asked a question. What is the difference between pratyaya and prajiti?
Prachiti and pratyaya. Prachiti is experience. Prachiti. Chiti means a chitta and chiti. These are 2 different Sanskrit words. Chiti is consciousness. Chitta is the place where the consciousness resides. So prachiti means that which has been prakarshena chiti. That which has been very powerfully experienced is called prachiti. I got the prachiti of so and so experience. That means a strong experience thing is called prachiti. Now, pratyaya is after you experience something, what is the residue of prachiti? Residue of prachiti is pratyaya. For example, a strong experience of having a wonderful fruit that you ate. So you had a fantastic experience. That is prachiti of mango. Now, what is pratyaya? The happiness extracted out of that experience remains lurking in your mind, and that is what prompts you to desire again and again. That is pratyaya. What is that brings a Kamasu person? He goes to, let us say, a Vara Yoshita or a bad area to meet a woman. What is prompting him to go? The act of going, act of talking, these are only acts. What is prompting is the last experience that gave him that happiness, which is in the condensed form, is in the mind, which is now fired up. That residual, concentrated, ultimate content of the experience is what the mind holds on. That is called pratyaya. Prachiti is experience, and the crystallized experience leading to the response that was given by the mind is taken in the form of impression or samskara. That is pratyaya. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hari Om. Many more questions?
Hari Om, I have a question that is out of context, but it is bothering me for quite some time. Now, I mean, you are giving the stages of Anandamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Jnanamaya Kosha. All those things are stage by stage. After difficult practice, only you can reach to the stage. Now, with the changes in this technology, now virtual reality kind of thing is coming up from Microsoft. Now, at one stage, as we advance in the technology, don't we think that they will be able to capture this Anandamaya Koshi also to a what you call technological experience?
You can easily answer this question whether the virtual reality has given you the happiness to that extent, or when you are experiencing the reality, you get the happiness for a few minutes.
This
Yes.
is few
So
minutes.
that means it is definitely a Vishaya Ananda. Vishaya Ananda can never be compared with the Ananda that we are talking of, Anandamaya Kosha. So another thing is, you can develop all the science and the scientific or technological developments are developments that are dependent on Indriya Gochar Anubhava. And this is Atindriya Anubhava. So these two are not comparable. Science will never ever get anywhere close to what Adhyatma gives, because one is Indriya or Sendriya experience. You take out the Indriyas, technology is nothing to give. While what we are talking is only when the Indriyas are closed, then only this flight starts. This is Atindriya, while this is Sendriya. This is Laukika, while that is Alaukika. And Laukika means Lokya, Lokya means experience. All the technology gives is experience, and Brahma Jnana is non-experiential. Hari Om.